10 local Chrysler car dealerships are among the nearly 800 dealerships nationally being shut down by Chrysler.
One of those 10 local dealerships losing the Chrysler franchise.
I just watched a Chrysler dealership owner pack up 34 years of business because they're down to selling 4 cars per month. Linda Martinez stood in her Phoenix showroom, removing the last promotional posters from walls that once showcased 150 Chryslers monthly. The service department had a 3-week backlog because they'd let go of most technicians. The parts department couldn't get components for basic repairs. The showroom sat empty, except for 3 vehicles gathering dust. When we bought this van 2 years ago, they couldn't keep them in stock, a customer told me. Now they can't give them away, and we're stuck with a $56,000 vehicle that's lost almost half its value and can't even get serviced properly. But Linda's dealership closure isn't an isolated incident. It's the canary in the coal mine for what's happening across America. 10 major automotive brands are facing complete extinction, and they're taking thousands of unsuspecting customers down with them. These aren't obscure foreign nameplates or boutique luxury marks. They're household names that millions of Americans have trusted with their second largest investment. But why are household names becoming automotive ghosts? After analyzing sales data, dealer networks, and corporate financial statements, I've identified 10 car brands that won't survive to see 2026. These aren't obscure startups. They're household names with decades of history that are systematically being killed by their own parent companies. The reasons why will shock you and change how you think about brand loyalty forever. The death spiral indicators. Let me show you the mathematical impossibility that's destroying these automotive brands. Linda's Chrysler dealership used to generate $2.8 million annually in revenue. Last year, it brought in $187,000. This year, she's on track for $89,000, not enough to pay rent on her facility, let alone support her family. The numbers tell a devastating story across multiple brands. Chrysler sales have plunged over 70% since 2015, with monthly volumes that would have been unimaginable a decade ago. Dealer inventory sits stagnant, with some vehicles remaining on lots for over 200 days, an eternity in automotive retail where 60 days is considered problematic. But Chrysler isn't alone in this death spiral. Infiniti has experienced an 89% decline in some markets, transforming from a legitimate luxury alternative into a brand that most consumers have forgotten exists. Mitsubishi has achieved something remarkable, becoming invisible to American consumers while technically still operating in the market. Therefore, brand death follows predictable patterns that we can identify and track in real time. The dealer network disintegration represents the most visible sign of brand collapse. Since 2020, over 30% of Chrysler dealerships have either closed entirely or dropped the brand from their franchises. This creates dangerous service deserts where owners must drive hundreds of miles for warranty repairs or routine maintenance. Infiniti dealers are abandoning ship even faster, with many switching to other brands or consolidating operations. When I recently tried to help a subscriber find Infiniti service, the nearest authorized dealer was over 150 miles away. The parts supply chain is similarly deteriorating, with components for even relatively new models becoming increasingly difficult to source. But dealer networks are the lifelines that keep automotive brands alive. When dealers lose confidence and abandon franchises, it creates a cascade effect that accelerates brand death exponentially. Therefore, network collapse doesn't just indicate brand problems. It actively causes them by eliminating customer access to sales and service. The investment starvation represents the most damning evidence of corporate abandonment. These dying brands have no new products in their development pipelines beyond minimal updates to existing vehicles. Research and development budgets have been redirected to surviving brands within their corporate families. Marketing spend has approached zero, making these brands invisible to potential customers. Chrysler has no new models in development beyond the Pacifica minivan. Infiniti's product roadmap shows virtually nothing new through 2026. Mitsubishi's American lineup consists entirely of aging designs with minimal updates, competing in crowded segments against fresher, more compelling alternatives. But brands need constant investment to survive in the modern automotive market. Without new products, marketing support, and technological advancement, even historically strong brands wither and die. Therefore, Corporate neglect becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that guarantees brand extinction. Perhaps most telling is the customer abandonment cycle that's accelerating these brand deaths. Existing owners are actively warning others away from their vehicles due to service difficulties and plummeting resale values. Data from automotive valuation services shows these brands losing value at twice the rate of stable competitors. A family who financed a Chrysler 300 in 2022 likely owes $10,000 more than the vehicle is currently worth, creating a financial trap they cannot escape without devastating losses. This word-of-mouth damage spreads faster than any marketing campaign can counter. But customer loyalty used to sustain struggling brands through difficult periods. Modern consumers are more pragmatic than loyal, abandoning brands that don't deliver value regardless of historical relationships. Therefore, the traditional safety net of brand loyalty has disappeared, leaving struggling brands with no buffer against market forces. The execution list. Part 1. But some brands are being killed more deliberately than others, and the execution methods reveal just how ruthless the automotive industry has become. Mitsubishi has achieved something that should be impossible in the American automotive market, becoming extinct while still technically operating. The brand's American sales have fallen by over 60% from their peak, with some models selling fewer than 200 units monthly nationwide. The dealer network has contracted by approximately 20% since 2020, creating vast regions where owners must travel hundreds of miles for authorized service. A subscriber asked me to find a reliable Outlander for his family, and it took 3 weeks just to locate a dealer with inventory. When we finally found one, the salesperson seemed surprised that someone actually wanted to buy a Mitsubishi. An automotive expert told me they've achieved the impossible, becoming extinct while still operating. Most consumers don't even realize Mitsubishi still sells cars in America. They're automotive ghosts. Infinity's identity crisis has reached terminal stages. Down 89% in some markets, this luxury division has lost nearly 75% of its peak sales volume and is rapidly disappearing from luxury shopping lists. The brand lacks clear differentiation from parent company Nissan's high-end offerings, with many models sharing obvious components and designs with much cheaper Nissan alternatives. Over 25% of Infiniti dealerships have either closed or consolidated with Nissan stores in the past 2 years, creating immediate problems for current owners who face dwindling service options and declining support. The maintenance situation adds insult to injury, as specialized Infiniti technicians become scarce and repair costs escalate. One customer told me, "Nobody knows what Infiniti stands for anymore. Is it sporty? Is it luxury? Is it reliable? The confusion is complete, and when I needed service, the closest dealer was 2 hours away." Chrysler represents the most dramatic fall from grace in American automotive history. Once a pillar of American manufacturing, the brand has been reduced to a hollow shell, with just the Pacifica minivan remaining after axing the 300 sedan. This leaves Chrysler competing in a segment that represents less than 2% of the American automotive market. The dealer I mentioned earlier told me, "We have 3 models to sell. Actually, we had 3 models. Now, it's just the Pacifica. We're selling 4 cars in a good month. I have a showroom that feels like a museum, and customers who walk in ask if we're going out of business." Parent company Stellantis has no new Chrysler models in development beyond minimal updates to the Pacifica. The brand appears to be in managed decline toward eventual extinction, with resources being funneled to more profitable Jeep and Ram divisions. Jaguar's collapse has been swift and brutal. U.S. deliveries fell 72% year over year to just 2,339 units in the first quarter, as legacy models wind down before an all-electric reboot that's already showing signs of failure. Worldwide sales are down 85% since 2018, and parent company JLR is cutting 500 management jobs after profits cratered. The inventory vacuum has left dealers with almost nothing to sell until the $200,000 4-door GT arrives late in 2025. Some dealers are pondering franchise termination rather than waiting for a luxury electric vehicle that may never find buyers. An automotive expert explained, "It's a luxury brand without luxury sales." The all-electric strategy was supposed to save Jaguar, but it's actually accelerating their death. Dealers have nothing to sell. Customers have nothing to buy, and the brand is disappearing in real time. The pattern is clear across all four brands: corporate neglect, dealer abandonment, and customer rejection, creating a death spiral that becomes impossible to reverse. These aren't temporary market corrections. They're systematic brand eliminations being executed by companies that have decided these nameplates are no longer worth saving. The execution list, Part 2. But the next group represents even more shocking failures, proving that even brands with passionate followings and quality products can't survive corporate indifference and market forces. Alfa Romeo's American dream has become a nightmare of epic proportions. Stellantis reports that U.S. sales plunged 51% in the second quarter to just 1,212 cars, roughly 3 per dealer per month. This Italian brand that was supposed to bring passion and performance to American roads has instead become a cautionary tale about misreading market demand. The thin lineup consists of only the Giulia sedan, Stelvio SUV, and the new Tonale, with no electric vehicle planned until 2027. While the Giulia offers Ferrari-derived performance and the Stelvio provides Italian style, American buyers have collectively decided that Italian passion isn't worth the perceived reliability risks. One customer described his experience: "I love the car. The engine sounds incredible, and the handling is fantastic. But when I needed service, the closest dealer was 200 miles away. When I tried to trade it in, the dealer offered me $15,000 less than comparable German cars. The passion is real, but so are the practical problems." Industry insiders expect Alfa Romeo to be merged into a pan-European premium division or pulled from North America entirely as Stellantis focuses resources on more profitable brands. Genesis represents one of the most puzzling brand failures in recent memory. Despite producing genuinely competitive luxury vehicles that often outperform established German rivals in quality surveys, Genesis struggles with low brand recognition and a limited dealer network that undermines the luxury ownership experience. With fewer than 400 dedicated Genesis facilities nationwide, many owners must travel significant distances for warranty service or rely on Hyundai dealerships that may lack specialized training and equipment. This compromised service experience undermines the luxury ownership proposition that justified the premium price. Last week, I helped a subscriber find Genesis service after his G90 needed warranty work. The nearest dedicated facility was 150 miles away, and the local Hyundai dealer admitted they weren't properly equipped to handle the luxury sedan's advanced systems. An automotive expert told me, "They make great cars that nobody knows exist." Genesis faces the fundamental challenge of establishing luxury credentials in a market dominated by established players with decades of heritage. Without scale and recognition, they can't justify the massive investment required. Acura's identity crisis has reached terminal stages, with sales declining approximately 40% from their peak as the brand struggles to justify its premium prices over increasingly well-equipped Honda models. The brand charges premium prices for vehicles that share too much with mainstream Honda products, creating a value proposition that luxury buyers increasingly reject. The service situation has deteriorated as many dealerships consolidate Acura and Honda operations. Specialized Acura technicians have become scarcer, and parts for unique Acura components often require special ordering, extending repair times and increasing costs. One Acura owner explained their frustration. "Why pay Acura prices for Honda engineering? The MDX costs $15,000 more than the Honda Pilot, despite sharing the same fundamental platform, powertrain, and many components. I can get 90% of the same vehicle for significantly less money." With Honda focusing development resources on mainstream models and electrification, Acura appears to be receiving minimal investment for truly distinctive products. The brand has announced vague performance and electrification plans, but has revealed few specific products that would meaningfully differentiate it from Honda or competitors. Before we reveal the final 3 brands facing extinction, if you want to avoid buying from any of these dying brands, I've created a free ebook called 17 Cars to Avoid in 2025. The link is in the description below. The pattern across these 3 brands reveals a common theme. Quality products aren't enough to survive without proper dealer networks, brand recognition, and corporate investment. Genesis makes excellent cars, but can't establish luxury credibility. Alfa Romeo offers genuine passion, but can't overcome reliability perceptions. Acura provides Honda reliability, but can't justify premium pricing. Therefore, brand survival requires more than good products. It requires comprehensive market strategy, dealer support, and corporate commitment that these brands simply don't have. The execution list, Part 3, plus analysis. But the final 3 represent the most shocking brand deaths of all, proving that even American luxury heritage and European engineering excellence can't survive when corporate priorities shift. Lincoln's decline represents the death of American luxury as we knew it. Ford's luxury division has experienced a 50% volume decline from its peak, becoming essentially a collection of rebadged Ford products with premium price tags. The Continental sedan was discontinued entirely due to poor performance, leaving Lincoln with a lineup consisting primarily of crossovers and SUVs that share obvious DNA with much less expensive Ford counterparts. The brand has been consolidating with Ford dealerships for years, with dedicated Lincoln showrooms becoming increasingly rare. This not only diminishes the luxury purchase and service experience, but also signals the brand's diminishing importance within Ford Motor Company. An automotive expert told me, "It's Ford in a tuxedo, and customers see through it." Lincoln attempts to compete in the luxury space while using thinly disguised Ford platforms and components, creating vehicles that offer neither the prestige of European luxury brands nor the value proposition of their Ford siblings. With Ford focusing development resources on electric vehicles and highly profitable truck lineup, Lincoln appears to be a low priority for future investment, suggesting continued decline rather than renaissance. Maserati's situation represents the collapse of Italian luxury in America. Despite beautiful styling and exotic appeal, the brand faces persistent reliability concerns that have created toxic word of mouth among luxury buyers. The combination of exotic car problems with mainstream luxury pricing has created a reputation crisis that no amount of marketing can overcome. The limited dealer network means many owners must travel significant distances for warranty repairs or routine maintenance. As dealers increasingly abandon the franchise due to poor sales, these service deserts expand, leaving owners with fewer options for maintaining their vehicles. One customer described his experience. "The car is absolutely beautiful and sounds incredible, but I can't trust Italian reliability. When something breaks, and it will break, I'm looking at weeks without the car and thousands in repair bills. I'd rather have a reliable German car that I can actually drive." Parent company Stellantis is questioning Maserati's viability in key markets, with reduced product plans and scaled-back dealer expansion, suggesting recognition that the American experiment has failed. Smart has already been discontinued in the United States, and its global presence is shrinking rapidly as Mercedes-Benz focuses resources elsewhere. The city car concept that worked in European urban centers never translated to American driving patterns and infrastructure. A former Smart dealer told me, "The city car concept doesn't work in America. Americans want vehicles that can handle every possible scenario: highway driving, suburban commuting, weekend adventures. Smart cars were too specialized for American lifestyles." Even the transition to electric vehicles couldn't save the brand, as larger EVs with more range and capability proved more appealing to consumers willing to make the electric switch. What's happening to these brands isn't accidental. It's deliberate corporate strategy. Parent companies are choosing winners and losers within their portfolios, concentrating resources on profitable brands while starving weak performers of investment. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where neglected brands inevitably fail. Stellantis is prioritizing Jeep and Ram over Chrysler, Alfa Romeo, and Maserati. Ford is focusing on F-150 and electric vehicles over Lincoln. Mercedes-Benz abandoned Smart to concentrate on core luxury models. These aren't market failures, they're corporate executions. The franchise agreements that once provided stable income streams have become worthless for these dying brands. Floor plan financing is becoming unavailable for slow-selling inventory. Service revenue is insufficient to maintain operations, and in many cases, the real estate is more valuable for non-automotive uses. Dealers are making rational business decisions to abandon failing franchises. But this accelerates brand death by eliminating customer access to sales and service. It's a death spiral that becomes impossible to reverse once it reaches critical mass. Modern consumers have replaced brand loyalty with practical considerations. Resale value concerns override purchase decisions, service availability becomes the primary factor, and social media amplifies negative experiences faster than positive ones can counter them. The traditional safety net of loyal customers who would stick with struggling brands through difficult periods has disappeared. Today's buyers are pragmatic, switching brands without emotional attachment when better alternatives exist. Therefore, brand death in the modern automotive market happens faster and more completely than ever before, with no possibility of the comebacks that saved brands in previous decades. The implications plus opportunities. But this brand apocalypse creates both dangers and opportunities that will reshape the automotive landscape permanently. For current owners of these dying brands, the implications are severe and immediate. Parts availability is becoming questionable as suppliers reduce inventory for low-volume models. Warranty support may be compromised as dealer networks shrink and corporate priorities shift. Resale values are approaching zero as buyers avoid vehicles from brands with uncertain futures. The service network disappearance creates the most immediate problems. When the nearest authorized dealer is 200 miles away, routine maintenance becomes a major inconvenience, and warranty repairs can leave owners stranded for weeks. This service desert effect accelerates customer abandonment and makes the brands even less viable. Therefore, current owners face a stranded asset scenario, where their vehicles become increasingly difficult and expensive to maintain, while losing value faster than normal depreciation would suggest. However, this brand death spiral creates unprecedented opportunities for informed buyers who understand what they're getting into. Dealers desperate to move inventory are offering massive discounts that can exceed 40% off MSRP. The negotiation leverage is overwhelming when dealers are losing money every day. Vehicles sit unsold. Some of these dying brands actually offer superior products that are being rejected for perception rather than quality reasons. The Alfa Romeo Giulia provides better performance than comparable BMW models. The Genesis G90 offers more luxury features than German competitors. The Maserati Ghibli delivers exotic car experience at mainstream prices. For buyers willing to accept the service challenges and resale value risks, these vehicles represent exceptional value propositions. The key is understanding that you're buying for long-term ownership rather than quick resale. Therefore, informed buyers can capitalize on brand death by acquiring superior vehicles at massive discounts, provided they understand and accept the associated risks. The economic ripple effects extend beyond automotive into real estate, employment, and supplier networks. Dealership properties in affected markets may lose value as automotive use becomes unviable. Communities dependent on these dealerships for employment and tax revenue face economic disruption. Parent companies are cutting losses quickly rather than attempting expensive turnaround efforts. The days of keeping struggling brands alive for heritage or emotional reasons are over. Corporate resources are being concentrated on brands with clear paths to profitability. Merger and acquisition activity is increasing as companies seek to acquire valuable assets from failing brands while avoiding their liabilities. The electric vehicle transition is accelerating these changes by requiring massive investments that only scale players can afford. Global market priorities are shifting resources away from struggling regions toward growth markets, particularly in Asia and emerging economies where these brands may have better prospects. So, why won't these 10 brands make it to 2026? Because they've lost the three things every automotive brand needs to survive: customer relevance, dealer support, and corporate investment. Once that death spiral begins, it becomes mathematically impossible to reverse. Linda's Chrysler dealership closing after 34 years isn't just a business failure. It's a symptom of fundamental changes in how the automotive industry operates. When a brand can only sell 4 cars per month, when dealers abandon franchises faster than customers abandon brands, when parent companies redirect resources to more profitable alternatives, extinction becomes inevitable. But here's what makes this personal. I've watched thousands of unsuspecting customers get trapped by these dying brands. They buy vehicles thinking they're getting deals, only to discover that cheap prices reflect genuine problems. Parts become scarce, service becomes impossible, and resale values collapse to levels that create financial disasters for families who trusted these brands with their second largest investment. The mathematics are brutal and unforgiving. Chrysler selling 4 cars monthly cannot support a dealer network. Infiniti down 89% cannot justify corporate investment. Mitsubishi invisible to consumers cannot generate the sales volume needed for survival. These aren't temporary market corrections. They're permanent structural changes that guarantee extinction. This isn't just about individual brands failing. It's about the complete restructuring of the global automotive industry. The brands that survive this apocalypse will be stronger and more profitable, but consumers will face fewer choices and potentially higher prices as competition decreases. The timeline is accelerating faster than most people realize. Some of these brands won't see the end of 2025, let alone make it to 2026. Corporate decisions are being made in boardrooms right now that will determine which nameplates disappear first and how quickly the remaining brands follow. But this brand apocalypse also creates opportunities for informed buyers who understand the risks and rewards. Massive discounts on quality vehicles, negotiation leverage that's unprecedented, and potential future collectible value for rare models from discontinued brands. The key is understanding what you're getting into. If you're buying for long-term ownership and can accept service challenges, some of these dying brands offer exceptional value. If you need reliable service networks and strong resale values, avoid them entirely. All of this analysis and the complete list of vehicles to avoid from these dying brands is in my free ebook, 17 Cars to Avoid in 2025, your guide to navigating this brand apocalypse. The ebook details not just which brands are dying, but which specific models to avoid and why, plus strategies for dealing with vehicles you already own from these brands. The automotive industry that emerges from this extinction event will be fundamentally different from what came before. Fewer brands, more concentration, different competitive dynamics, and new opportunities for both buyers and sellers who understand the changing landscape. Next week, I'm revealing which brands will dominate the post-apocalypse automotive landscape and how to position yourself as a buyer in this new reality. I'll also share the specific strategies for capitalizing on brand death, whether you're buying, selling, or just trying to avoid getting trapped by a dying nameplate. Download the free ebook, 17 Cars to Avoid in 2025, in the description below, and hit that notification bell, because in a market where brands are disappearing faster than ever, the buyers with the best information make the smartest decisions. These 10 brands are dying, but understanding why and when gives you the power to profit from their demise or avoid their destruction entirely.